Hello, everyone. I interviewed a man named Lance Courtney, and he is a sport agent for the International Basketball Federation, the National Basketball Players Association, and the National Football League Players Association. Mr. Courtney went to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, to become a businessman. When he graduated from college, he took a customer service job in New York where he impatiently waited about a year and a half for an opportunity to present itself. After that year and a half, he became an accountant manager for 6 years, following that by becoming a top marketing executive for 3 years, while all at the same company. As a marketing executive, he was very successful. He represented some of the most prestigious companies in New York, like the Guggenheim Museum, the Swiss Hotel, Four Seasons, Metropolitan Museum of Art, Sotheby's Auction House, and Sotheby's Real Estate. The only downside to all of his success is that he went to bed working and woke up working, and it started to take a toll on his family. Then one day, someone he would talk to on the bus every day while on the way to work told him about the famous basketball player Ron Artest and how he knew his father, and told Mr. Courtney he could introduce him. And after his talk with Mr. Artest, one thing led to another, and he went and got his certification with the National Basketball Players Association, which started his career as a sport agent. Some of Mr. Courtney's everyday tasks are servicing his clients by touching base with them a few days a week. He is also always out prospecting players and looking for athletes who have the potential to possibly go pro. He works basically every day, always staying up to date on player stats and whatever may be changing day to day in the league. Mr. Courtney currently represents 10 clients, some of which are on a professional sports team or on the minor league team like the G League for basketball. Some of the way he assists his clients is by studying the way his clients play. With that knowledge, he can contact certain general managers or coaches to try and convince them as to why his clients would be a good fit for their team. Another thing Mr. Courtney does for his clients is creating a personal connection with them, finding their interests. He will help them pursue their dreams off the field as well. Say if one of his clients wanted to go into real estate and flip houses during the off season, Mr. Courtney would put them in contact with someone who could help them do that. Another thing Mr. Courtney goes through is an occasional disagreement with some of his clients. Sometimes when a player gets cut from the practice squad or gets stuck on that minor league team instead of moving up, they often blame their agent because they don't want to take responsibility for not being successful. Though that's not the agent's fault because they aren't the one playing the sport. One of the key points Mr. Courtney discussed in our interview was that the certification for becoming a sport agent. Back when he first became an agent, the requirements were pretty basic. For basketball, all you had to do was fill out some paperwork and pay a fee to become an agent. Football made it a little more difficult than that. For them, you had to have a bachelor's degree in college and take an exam to become certified. The most important part of the certification process is that you have to have good credit. The reason is because as an agent, you could be working with potential multi-million-dollar athletes, and you need to know how to help them handle their money effectively. Another key point was him explaining how difficult it has been to recruit during COVID. He said the year 2020 has been like a wash for all sport agents because they were incapable of going out and watching athletes since close to all sports were shut down. A couple things that I learned about and found to be pretty important were about sponsors and endorsements, along with how tough this career is. When I asked Mr. Courtney if he worked to find sponsor and endorsement deals for his clients, he said no. He explained the reason being is that sponsors find athletes. You're not going to find a second-string quarterback or wide receiver on TV commercials or as the front face of Nike. You're going to find the best of the best, like Tom Brady, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Larry Fitzgerald, Aaron Rodgers, etc. And this was something I didn't know before my interview. The second thing I thought was important to know was that this career is a tough one. Most people nowadays coming out of college with a sports law degree end up giving up on becoming a sport agent because of how tough it is to find and recruit clients. A good few of these individuals will go and use that law degree and become a lawyer, or as Mr. Courtney told me, that a guy he knew went on to become a judge. Being a sport agent is also very competitive because you could be working like a dog to have an athlete pick you as their agent instead of someone else. It can be a tooth and nail industry. One thing I would do differently would be to ask him what a good starter job would be that could lead you into becoming a good, well-known agent. Because even though it can take a long time to gain your first client, it would be nice to know of a good fallback job just in case.